It's going to be different for sure. This is the first time anyone's ever tried it like this.
Every single person is singing every take live.
This has not been done with this kind of consistency in a musical before. The idea of singing live is daunting, but what it gives you is this freedom.
We have found an amazing group of actors who are completely at home acting through music.
Well, our next guest spent years teaching that very drama, Victor Hugo's story of Les Misérables. High school and college students are his specialty. Dr. Allan Curnew is the assistant professor and chair of the Department of French at Redeemer University. Let's welcome him to Context. Hi, it's so great to have you here. Thank you. Wow, you can just tell Les Mis is going to be a very popular box office hit. Why? Where does it rank amongst novels in popularity, this story, this saga?
Well, that's a good question. I would say it ranks very highly. Obviously, the popularity of the musical and the numerous film versions that have been made over the years. It's just an amazing story. But precisely for that reason, I think it offers so much. It's a love story. It's an adventure story. It's philosophical. It's social, and it has something really to appeal to. That appeals to everyone in some sense.
Let's take a look now at how the lead character is going to be approaching his role of Valjean.
I do the soliloquy, and it starts with, "What have I done, sweet Jesus, what have I done? Become a thief in the night, become a dog on the run. Have I fallen so far, and is the hour so late, that nothing remains but the cry of my hate?" Okay, so that's, if you were singing it literally, it'd be like that. I can go out there, in some takes, I'd be like, "What have I done? Sweet Jesus, what have I done? Become a thief in the night, become a dog on the run. Have I fallen so far, and is the hour so late, that nothing remains but the cry of my hate?"
Allan, why is that character of Valjean so compelling?
That first part of the story where he receives redemption, basically. He's been, through his own admission, he's become an animal after years of hard labor. And he's been branded as such. He's come to believe that is indeed what he is. And I guess that animal nature towards that sort of individualistic drive for survival, for looking out for the self, has taken over. But he meets that moment of redemption, and I think we all, at some point in our lives, and whether we do anything about it or not, we crave that forgiveness, that second chance, that chance to make something more of ourselves.
This novel, and now this movie, turns words into actions. And I found it so fascinating that the bishop's act of kindness wasn't enough. It all hinged really on his words, and he wrote out his motivation. He wrote, "By the suffering death of Jesus Christ, God has raised you out of darkness. I have bought your soul for God." Mm-hmm. What happens because that is articulated in the story?
Jean Valjean presents an ideal, really, that self-sacrifice, that forgiveness he demonstrates toward others, toward Javert, for example. That ideal is presented to us, and one could say that drastic change and that attitude and that perseverance is really superhuman and a result of God's redemptive power.
Well, in Les Mis, we have the story of these characters all coming to that idea of either to the end of themselves or to God's redemption, broken dreams for their lives, coming back, persevering despite all the odds. We've got another clip here of Anne Hathaway talking about her approach to Fantine's redemption song, "I've Dreamed a Dream." Listen in.
When hope was high and life worth living, When I saw the trailer and Anne singing with this extraordinary fragility, that song, which I thought I knew pretty well, suddenly I listened to the lyrics for the first time afresh.
There seemed to be something selfish about trying to go for the pretty version. She's devastated. She's literally at the bottom of a hole looking up and realizing she's never going to climb out of this. So I just decided to apply the truth to the melody and then see what would happen.
Allan, for me, this story is all about Christian virtues, Christian themes. Was Victor Hugo trying to make a spiritual point, or is my imagination just going overdrive? This was a time of humanistic France coming of age, and you have these deeply religious Christian themes.
Mm-hmm. You know, I believe he was. I can't speak to that for certain, but it is indeed so obvious that, you know, and he was criticized to a certain extent for that. He
wasn't clergy. He was having the longest running affair in history. He wasn't a virtuous man himself.
No.
And yet he wrote such a wonderfully virtuous piece.
He did. He did. And, you know, I think we can sort of draw from what he wrote about Javert, how he wrote Javert, and how he wrote Jean Valjean. We have Javert, who, you know, right up to the end, he's, you know, the legalist. He's the letter of the law. This is how this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're not supposed to do. Whereas Jean Valjean bends the law, and Javert looks at the law but not at the spirit of the law. And I think, like Valjean himself, Hugo was not perfect. He had his flaws and failings, just like every other human being.
Dr. Curnew, thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you
for having me.
Coming up, we'll meet Cheryl Nembhard, a woman whose real-life response to adversity mirrors art, and it also mirrors the strength, determination, and broken dreams of Fantine's character in Les Mis.